I think the problem you have with Ilhan Omar is that she is everything Trump says she is and more. I mean, she is a genuinely horrible person. As you know, sometimes my producer, my staff, they like to make me watch leftists talking on TikTok. And why you say, why do they do that? It's because they hate me. They hate me. They think I'm a slave driver. They, think I do terrible things, to small animals, and all of that, of course, is true. But so today I'm going to watch leftists reacting to Donald Trump's take on Somalians. But before I get to that, let me tell you that this this act of torture and cruelty is brought to you by expressvpn.com/Andrew Klavan Show. That's ExpressVPN will help you protect your data online, and you can get it at a good price at expressvpn.com/Andrew Klavan Show. So this huge scandal in Minnesota has been revealed in which Somalian immigrants ripped off the state taxpayers for billions of dollars by pretending to start charities they weren't starting, and nobody wanted to report them because they were afraid of being called racist. And finally it came out, and finally they're being prosecuted. The press is doing everything they can not to cover it. They were forced to cover it by Chris Rufo. And this is Trump's reaction to the Somalians in Minnesota, which is hilarious.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. Our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing.
Now we've seen Donald Trump just for a laugh, and now we'll watch the left react. Let's see some leftists on TikTok reacting to Donald Trump.
While Trump is busy calling Somali immigrants garbage and acting like they offer nothing to the country, this kind of feels like an opportune time to remind everyone that Somalis low-key helped the West to get online. And Gen Z, you weren't there, so let me walk you through what that looked like, because most of you have never experienced a time in life where it was kind of difficult to get online if your family didn't have a computer. And for most people in the early 2000s, that was the case, right? Almost half of low-income UK households had absolutely no internet at home, right? In the US, more than 40% of low-income families were offline too. Because before Wi-Fi in every block, before unlimited data, before we even had iPhones in every pocket, right? It was the Somali internet cafes that were holding it down, right? When you saw that small shop with its blue glow, the smell of French fries or chips from the next door, right? 20 dusty computers were humming like a generator. You'd walk in, ask for a Mirinda with £1 thinking that you were Jeff Bezos, right? Kids printing coursework because there was no laptop at home. Teens making their first Yahoo email, setting up an MSN or a Black Chat, right? Doing something wild, right? Uncles checking football scores, aunties sending money home and arguing with the exchange rate. And for people saying that the internet was already everywhere, well, no, it wasn't.
You mean it wasn't in Somalia? I wasn't quite sure what she was saying there. She's confessing that Somalia is a crap hole country. Also, she was wearing a T-shirt that said "Visit Nigeria," which made me want to buy a T-shirt that said "No, no thanks. I don't think I will visit Nigeria." I have no idea what that woman was talking about. All I can say is this. If you're a legal citizen, you can go on talking nonsense. If you're not, you're deported. Goodbye. So that's my reaction to that. Let's hear more.
These attacks against Somali folk in Minnesota are about the creation and maintenance of a white ethno-state in America. That's actually not even an opinion that I have. The Trump administration is telling us that explicitly. They're telling us that when the Department of Homeland Security is explicitly tweeting about remigration, which is a far-right European concept about ethnic cleansing, and they're telling us that when they are welcoming white South Afrikaners, pretending that they are being marginalized in post-apartheid South Africa. Everything that this administration and this country, everything that this country does is about maintaining the power of white people to have privilege and to rule. That includes immigration policies, that includes the boat strikes that they're doing in the Caribbean, that includes the war they're manufacturing consent for in Venezuela, it includes the demonization of DEI policies, right? All of it is about the maintenance of white supremacy. And I don't say any of this to be flippant, right? But I do think that folks often assume that there is a more complex reason that we are seeing and experiencing what we are, and it actually isn't, right? It's just white supremacy, right?
I get this woman on the phone because I have questions. I have serious questions about this. If we are establishing white supremacy, why aren't I getting some? I mean, if this is going to be a white ethno-state, I want like a uniform or something. I want like epaulets, I mean, if we're going to have a white ethno-state, let's do this thing, damn it.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
I want to be involved. And nobody's called me. Not one person has called me and said, we're building a white ethno-state. You're kind of white. You could be part of it. Nothing. I'm left out of everything. I don't understand this. I'm a nice person. Like I said, I'm as white as, the next guy. I really, really resent this. I mean, I live in this place. I see black people and white people walking together. I see all kinds of different colors, people with funny, hats that represent their religion. They all seem perfectly happy. And I think I thought we were building a white ethno-state. What the hell is going on here? Just get that woman on the phone because I want to know where this white ethno-state is because I'm getting bupkis. I'm getting bupkis.
Is that racist? It feels racist.
Who knows you better than yourself? Maybe your family, maybe your friends. Well, I'll tell you this, if you own any internet-connected device, there are thousands of companies that might know you better than you know yourself. They're called data brokers, and they make billions tracking everything you do online. Every purchase, every location, every conversation, your most personal beliefs, all packaged into a profile they sell to marketers, activists, and yes, politicians looking to influence you. You could go completely off the grid, or you could just use ExpressVPN. These companies track you through your IP address, your digital fingerprint. ExpressVPN gives you a new IP address in a location you choose, making you virtually untraceable. With ExpressVPN, your connection is encrypted and routed through secure servers. Even your internet provider can't see your activity, which is important since they're legally allowed to sell your data to whoever they want. I use ExpressVPN all the time. I'm a mystery writer. I write suspense stories. I look up a lot of embarrassing stuff, how to do terrible things that my villains do. I don't want anybody looking over my shoulder and thinking I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, which I'm not. ExpressVPN works on all your devices, phones, laptops, tablets, with just one click for instant privacy. Find out how you can get 4 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Andrew Klavan Show.
Gumby's entire brand is and complain. But he stands there attacking Somali Americans for complaining. The projection is wild. Dumpy Pants' new target is Somali Americans in Minnesota because he knows he needs Latino votes. He's decided to demonize a different community to feed his base. He stands there and says Somalia is the worst country on earth, that Somali people have destroyed Minnesota, and that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar shouldn't even be allowed to be in Congress.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage.
Then he goes full racist, tells her to go back to her own country. Even though she's an American citizen, he tries to mock her accent, talks about how she complains and how all they do is complain, complain, complain. I'm sorry, who complains more than Dumpy Pants?
This is a good opportunity for me to come out and speak against racism because I hated that woman and she's white, So I think I'm really fair. I hate all these people. These people are just terrible.
She's garbage. Her friends are garbage.
And that voice, I kept thinking, does that woman have a husband who's sitting in the next room going, stop, make it stop? I don't know. I think the problem you have with Ilhan Omar is that she is everything Trump says she is and more. I mean, she is a genuinely horrible person. And is that because she's from Somalia? How can we know? Maybe it's just she was just born that way. There are horrible people all over the world. She's one of them. I know that out of the goodness of the American heart, which has been too generous to immigrants too long, she was allowed into this country because she was escaping from Somalia because Somalia is a crap hole. And as Trump said, it didn't just like planted on the planet like that. It was made like that by the people in it who are now in Minnesota. So here's what I think. Maybe we should just like lift Minnesota and carry it back to Somalia. Or maybe we should lift Minnesota and just tip it over Somalia and then return it to the United States. I see these are good plans. These are effective, practical plans that we can all work on together. But keep the lakes. Don't let the lakes spill out over Africa, although they need the water. But still, it's 1,000 lakes. They belong to us.
And you know why Minnesota is one of the places that actually outside of East Africa, they have the largest Somali population, is because Minnesota was a perfect state, frankly, because of the infrastructure, the social services. The Lutherans and Catholic Charities were actually very instrumental in ensuring that refugees came to a place where they would be successful. And Minnesota was that place. The president obviously doesn't understand that the Somali immigrants in Minnesota, the people who came through the program, they came through a legal U.S. admissions refugee program. And so when he is talking in a very racist is the only way to describe it, racist and dehumanizing way about an entire demographic of people, he is talking about teachers, healthcare workers, people's friends, families, and neighbors, members of Congress. Right. The derogatory way in which he continues to speak about Congresswoman Ilhan Omar should prompt every single member of the United States Congress, Democrat or Republican, to stand up and say, I just can't get with the racism. That's the very least they could do, regardless if you think you agree with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar or not. What he is doing is racist and it's dangerous. He is putting a target on the back of these folks, and he is using the full weight of the federal government to do so.
I think it's time for us to talk about the definition of the word racist. Unless I'm incorrect, racist is hating somebody because of their race. Nobody hates Omar because of her race. Even racists don't hate her because of her race. They don't have time to get to the race. Actual racists, and Trump isn't one, but actual racists would hate her for her race if they could get that far to her race. But they actually have to get through all the things they hate her for. And by the time they get to the race, they've lost interest and they've gone back to playing video games. So he's talking about people who just ripped off the taxpayers for billions of dollars, billions of dollars. He's talking about a group of people who did that, and nobody in that community reported them to the police. People came and said, hey, you can put up a fake charity pretending to feed children, never feed the children, but take the millions of dollars that come in and buy a car. And some people were honest enough to say, no, I won't do that. But none of them, not one, was honest enough to say, no, I won't do that. And now I'm calling the police. None of them did that. So this is a community that is sticking together. And I think that's good, because if they're all stuck together, it will be easy to remove them in one block and carry them back to Somalia. It's a great country. They're going to love it. They're going to absolutely love it. I think there are trees there. Really, trees are wonderful things and help the air and everything. And they're green. They're beautiful. So they're going to have a great time. So this has nothing to do with race. It's like saying that we were racist when we fought Japan. I mean, we were, but still, we didn't fight Japan because we were racist. That just happened to be where the bombs were coming from. And with this happens to be where the migrants are coming from, who are ripping off the taxpayers. They can go back. That's all I have to say about Somalia. And I really feel, as somebody who really loves everybody of whatever color, as long as they're not ripping me off, I have to say that I'm with Trump on this. For more great content, like and subscribe. And for even greater content, subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show wherever you get your podcasts.